Versatile Mage. Chapter 519. It was meant for external application. The area of Mo Fan's fiery fist, 9 halls, was obviously smaller than Ding Yumian's, yet its power was greater. The high-temperature flames spread to the barrier. The spectators could clearly feel the heat and the strength of the rose flame that belonged to the brute force magician on the dueling ground. Ding Yumian, standing in the midst of the fiery fist, 9 halls, did not hesitate. A suit of light armor quickly wrapped around her. The armor was blue, with a soft, smooth surface. It was not made of the skin and bones of demon beasts, but from some kind of plants. Perhaps since she was a fire magician, the armor did not appear to be fire resistant. As a matter of fact, it did not provide any protection against Mo Fan's spell, whose power was multiplied 2.5 times by the rose flame. Ding Yumian had no choice but to back off to the edge of the boundary, outside the range of the flames. Mo Fan was well aware of Ding Yumian's fighting capacity. Now that he had finally begun his counterattack, he had no intention of giving Ding Yumian a chance to cast Soul Impact again. While his fiery fist, 9 halls, was still in effect, while the focus necklace was still active, Mo Fan began to draw another star pattern. Purple-black lightning orbits flickered around Mo Fan's body, which rapidly combined into a fierce star pattern. Chanjin, Thunderbolt, Wild Strikes. The lightning star pattern was still under Mo Fan's feet, yet the crazily violent lightning energy had already gathered above Ding Yumian. A huge stormy cloud floated above her, with bolts flickering like serpents within it. As Mo Fan pointed his finger, the black lightning ray fiercely struck Ding Yumian. The entire place shook wildly under Chanjin's space-vibrating effect. More lightning strikes descended to the ground, striking Ding Yumian's armor and the ground around her. A huge part of the dueling area was shattered into pieces, scattering in the air. Ding Yumian basically had no movement spells. She could only resist with her armor and shield equipment. However, the 3rd level intermediate lightning spell was stronger than the fiery fist, 9 halls, especially when Ding Yumian was the only target enduring the damage. Her armor was almost shattered into pieces by the lightning strikes. The wild lightning strikes turned Ding Yumian's surroundings into electric fields. After remaining passive and trying to defend herself, Ding Yumian's entire body turned numb. The arcs of electricity cracked loudly. The whole corner of the stage was destroyed beyond recognition. Ding Yumian, who was still protected by her shield and armor, was trembling hard. Her armor was already ineffective against Mo Fan's 9 halls, so it stood no chance against the penetrating, ferocious power of the lightning. Pieces of blue armor slowly peeled away from her. Ding Yumian tried to brace herself with a pale expression. "You can no longer defend yourself." Mo Fan stepped forward. Lightning strikes in the shape of serpents floated around him. At Mo Fan's command, the lightning serpents lunged at Ding Yumian fiercely. Her destroyed armor was nowhere near enough to defend her against the lightning strikes. "You were willing to suffer from the burns despite being able to use your focus necklace earlier, waiting for the chance to execute your counterattack," observed Ding Yumian, breathing heavily. Determined, reckless. This was Ding Yumian's appraisal toward Mo Fan. Having both lightning and fire elements had turned Mo Fan into a killing machine. He was able to follow up the destructive fiery fist, 9 halls, with an even stronger lightning strike, Wild Strikes. Lightning was even more ruthless than fire. Ding Yumian had rarely encountered opponents with such a heavy offensive focus. Her armor was designed to be soft and nimble, allowing her, since she did not have any movement spells, to move freely and not require her to remain stationary. Normally, the expensive armor was enough to block a wave of full attacks from her opponents, yet the light armor stood no chance against a pure brute force magician. Once Mo Fan landed his attacks, Ding Yumian had no chance of fighting back. The 2 most destructive spells in the intermediate level. If Ding Yumian had heavy armor, Mo Fan would be the one losing the duel. There aren't so many ifs, it's a victory for him. You're right, but this Demon King has already leveled up 2 of his elements to the 3rd level. What a surprise. The outcome was decided. Mo Fan had been extremely passive at the start of the battle. Either his spells were interrupted by the soul impact, or he was burned by Ding Yumian's fire. Unfortunately, since Ding Yumian's secondary element was psychic, it also implied that her offense was quite simple. It was fairly difficult to defeat Mo Fan, who had a high resistance to fire, in a short period of time. Most importantly, Mo Fan, who had pretended he had no chance of fighting back, suddenly activated the focus magic tool and utilized both his lightning and fire to land destructive blows and shatter Ding Yumian's defense. Ding Yumian had assumed that she had already won the battle, but she was overwhelmed in the end. Mo Fan only had one chance to strike back, but he only needed one chance. Mo Fan is the winner. Wei Rong declared the outcome of the duel, leaving the crowd bewildered. Those who cheered the loudest were all new students. The highest that any other new student had managed to get was Mu Nujiao, who had just crossed the 50th rank. Yet, as expected of the Demon King Mo Fan, he had defeated an expert in the top 10. Everyone had witnessed Ding Yumian's strength. The truth was, even those who considered themselves experts would lose before casting a single spell. Even with a focus magic tool, they would not be able to counterattack using the combo of the two strongest killing spells in the intermediate level. The truth was, Mo Fan was extremely relieved after securing the win. If he had not improved his Lightning Nebula to the 3rd level last month, he would surely have lost the duel against anyone in the top 10. Thunderbolt. Yaksha's strength was not as formidable as Thunderbolt, Wild Strikes. My fire has hidden side effects. Use this, it will eliminate the threat. Ding Yumian took a brief rest to recover slightly before throwing a faint brown serum into Mo Fan's hands. Its color was similar to the color of her flames. Mo Fan was covered in wounds. On the other hand, Ding Yumian did not seem injured, apart from her fatigued look. Thanks. Mo Fan received the serum and drank it in one go. Ding Yumian glanced at him with a blank expression. Mo Fan thought she was attracted by his straightforwardness, not to mention that his perfect body was still exposed. He immediately wore a seemingly attractive smile that he thought was enough to charm thousands of girls. Ding Yumian was startled, but took out another serum and said calmly, "This thing is meant for external application." The blossoming smile on Mo Fan's face suddenly stiffened. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.